All right, so you're probably wondering why I'm doing a whole bunch of screen share videos. It's just to be honest with, it's because I'm ugly. It's ugly. It's ugliness that I am trying to hide from you. I am trying to hide the hideousness. I'm just kidding. You guys know I'm not ugly. I'm beautiful. I'm beautiful, and so are you. So today I want to jump into the market. I want to answer the big question. What is the big question that I'm trying to answer today? That is very simple. Is this a fake pump? Where's the market direction? Are we going to continue to run with altcoins and with Bitcoin? Because wow, the market is looking really good right now as we speak. If I go to CoinGecko, you can clearly see in the last 24 hours, we have some significant gains being made. So I want to answer the question, are we going to continue to run? Or is this just another fake out that's going to trap people and ultimately going to lose money? Do you want to chase this green, right? And that's the question I want to answer today in this video. And again, I want to make it super clear. You're going to realize that my videos are going to stand apart from everybody else because right now, everybody just looks like everybody looks like this. Everybody's, oh, what are we going to do? War. And I'm just trying to make it super clear so that there's no lack of clarity and communication with my audience. And I want to say just 2 seconds, apologize to people who have been watching me for a long time. I do understand that at one point I was like this. Oh, I was all over. I was like that. And I've realized the error in my ways, and this is me changing. So I want to give you guys some clarity in the long term, all right? And this is crypto in the long term. And what I mean by long term is I'm not talking about the day-to-day. I'm thinking in 3, 6, 9, 12 month time frames. So everybody understands, because I know they're going to make investment decisions off my thumbnail. So just to be clear with everybody, this is my current thesis. And wow, it looks elegant, it looks clean, and it doesn't look like this. It doesn't look like that. It looks like something that you could actually tangibly read. And I've boiled it down to first principles. I've boiled it down to the element or root cause. And I split it up into 2 different categories. That's qualitative elements or quality-like elements, as things you can't really put a number on. And then we have quantitative elements. And I do believe, after me dissecting each individual variable in this video, it's going to give you some really, really good clarity on the market. And without me even saying it, you guys will know if I'm bullish or bearish. So I'm literally not going to tell you in this video if I'm bullish or bearish, but towards the end, you will understand what I'm thinking because of the clarity of this video. So do me a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. I'm doing it different. I'm trying new things. And if you guys like what I'm doing, leave a comment below and let me know so I can continue to do it. So first thing I want to look at is the financial sanctions narrative. So, we could talk about a whole bunch of different reasons, and I could pull up tabs like everybody else, and I could just ramble on in a video and give you the perception of value. They'll give you the perception that what they're teaching you is valuable, but really it all boils down to this. This is the biggest narrative: financial sanctions. And we could open up the tab here. Again, very clean. Basically, this is what everybody's thinking right now is satellite internet terminals sent by Elon Musk, right? This is the biggest news on Google, the top stories. So this is what's being pushed the most, and this is what the vast majority of people are looking at. Because remember, guys, I showed you the video where Google basically has like a 90% dominance on all search traffic. So they have like a 90% dominance on all narratives. So as you can clearly see, it's all about the war. Very simple. We talked about this a couple of times. And clearly, we see that the sanctions narrative is playing out, right? Ukraine now accepting Polkadot. So we saw Gavin Wood, the creator of Polkadot. I don't have the tweet for you, but you can go to Gavin Wood's Twitter. And he saw that Ukraine, okay, specifically Ukraine, was trying to adopt or accept donations in crypto. Now, it's crazy because it's not really about the donation amount. Like people keep putting out, they invested 20 million in donations to Ukraine. It's really more about the fact that Ukraine chose crypto is the point, because that really sets the tone and for everybody in the world, because in this economic turmoil, the country literally had to or was forced into accepting crypto. And that's powerful. And Gavin Wood saw that. And he's like, oh, snap, let me get a piece of this narrative. And Gavin Wood said, hey, Ukraine, I'll give you guys $5 million worth of Polkadot right now if you accept Polkadot. And they did. And they did. And you can see, again, it's setting the tone for basically the world, because there's no war going on except for Ukraine and Russia. So what they're doing is like kind of the first starting point for what potentially might happen in the future for every other country. So essentially all the countries are learning from this one starting point. And Ukraine was forced to accept crypto. And this is why I've been given, I'm not going to say the word. Actually, I'm not going to say the word. You'll know if I'm bullish or bearish at the end of this video. You guys should definitely know that. If we come over here, okay, Coinbase this is again the narrative. Russia was like, hey, Ukraine was like, hey, Russia, stop crypto, whatever, sanctions, right? Deny Ukraine's request, right? Censorship resistance. This is why cryptocurrency is big. So playing into the financial sanctions, it's big, guys. Like, we have governments trying to seize crypto wallets. The financial sanctions narrative is the biggest, right? Money transfer fintech Wise pulls the plug on its services in Russia. So they are censoring Russia, right? World's biggest crypto exchange, Binance, says it will not block all Russian accounts despite Ukraine requests. Again, crypto companies are showing censorship resistance. Centralized entities are showing that they can censor everybody, which is setting the tone. Again, new sanctions. Bitcoin jumps 10%. You could see literally, I typed in crypto news. I didn't even put sanctions. I just typed in just crypto news. And you could clearly see that it's all about sanctions, right? If we come over here, this is also playing into that narrative slightly. Bitcoin pulling away from Ponzi markets, and you can see the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ, as well as gold. He doesn't have gold on his chart, but you can clearly see it in gold as well. Cryptocurrencies, for some reason, doing really well right now in the times of war. And historically, gold doesn't really do that well during war times. Gold doesn't do well. Gold does really well up until wartime. Before wartime, gold does really well. And it shows that cryptocurrency is doing surprisingly. Like I said in the last video, I was like, what? Why aren't we dumping? Like, this is a war. All financial markets typically do bad during war. Also, I did want to point out, to add a little bit to this original financial sanctions narrative here, I just wanted to add that even if they take the internet down, you could still send a Bitcoin transaction by radio frequency. So this is kind of crazy. And it adds to, even if they try to shut off the internet, it doesn't really matter. Bitcoin flourishes. And this is why it's so powerful. And you could see Elon Musk right here giving its satellite internet terminals to Ukraine to help them out. But really, like, it wouldn't matter. And that's the crazy part about this, is that when you have these big, crazy times and economic times, the internet can go out. And Bitcoin, it technically is a solution for that. So I thought that was really, really interesting. And yeah, you get the point, guys. I think it's crazy. Okay, I think it's crazy that before Russia declared war, Russia actually made crypto a legal form of currency. So I don't know. Is Russia trying to force the world to adopt crypto? Is Russia trying to shake the United States out of their strategic position as holding the world reserve currency to force people to adopt crypto? I think it's likely. I think it's very likely that this is their move. I think the fighting was kind of like sparking the match. But the real, again, fight, what I keep trying to tell you guys, is this financial warfare. The financial warfare is a real fight. And all of these events after the war are leading to crypto adoption. And I think this is the most powerful narrative that we are experiencing clearly right now. Now, I do want to talk about another narrative that most people are not jumping into. And this is the Ethereum 2.0 hype that's coming. They claim that they're supposed to have ETH 2.0, or the merge event, the biggest event. The merge event is supposed to take place in the beginning of 2022. Now, of course, they pushed this date probably back, and they're not really giving clear, definitive solutions on when it's exactly going to happen. But I do think it's coming, and I do think it's coming very soon. And I do think that the war, to some certain extent, has put a fire under their butt to get it really done. Now, I know a lot of people kind of just glance over the ETH 2.0 hype like it's not that big of a deal. But do want to show you how big of a deal it is. So this is basically a simple breakdown of why layer ones or smart contracts get adopted. And after I lay this out for you, then you're going to understand why ETH 2.0 solving its transaction speeds and fees is probably the most significant jump in smart contract history we have ever seen in our life. So I know everybody says the same thing. They're like, oh, well, we have other layer ones or smart contracts that have all the solutions that Ethereum doesn't have. And I would argue and say that is not the case, because most people only look at what? Cheap transactions, right? Fast transactions. That's all they're looking at. They're only looking at it from one perspective, but crypto is dynamic. There's so many other reasons why smart contracts get adopted, right? So one reason is liquidity. A lot of projects are having liquidity issues. Even the one I talk about the most, which I love, which is Phantom. Phantom has like serious liquidity issues. So for a big time investor, if I have $100 million, I will literally pump the price of all assets on Phantom if I try to buy it, which will lead to slippage, which will lead to me essentially losing money just for buying the asset. So liquidity is one of the most important variables that most smart contract platforms are missing. And this is TVL. And we're talking about big amounts. I'm not talking about 100 million. I'm talking about, multi-billions of dollars of liquidity is what big investors look for. This is why you see all the billionaires, they don't adopt Solana. They don't care. They only care about Bitcoin because they don't want to move the price of Bitcoin as they buy it. They want to get into Bitcoin at a cheap price. So for them, billionaires would never adopt another smart contract except for Ethereum. Ethereum is the best chance for any other billionaire to adopt. This is true. Because again, of the liquidity issues. I can't stress this enough. And I know people that have been in crypto are really going to resonate with what I'm saying here, because what I'm doing is I'm clearing the dust. There's all this hype. There's all this speculation. There's all these people saying what is going to happen and what's not going to happen. But what is real is that billionaires would never adopt a smart contract platform without liquidity, with serious liquidity depth. And every smart trader is going to know this. And leave a comment below if you think this is true. But TVL, right? Total value locked. Also, the bridge liquidity is a big thing. You're not going to get bridges if there's no bridge liquidity. And then also, how many exchanges are they on? Centralized and decentralized, right? And by far, there is no even close contender. There is no close contender at all when it comes to this problem right here, other than Ethereum. Ethereum has the biggest liquidity, the most exchanges, the most TVL, and it's, again, a long shot. It's not even close to any other smart contract, right? So although we have other blockchains with cheap transactions and fast transactions, that doesn't matter because the big whales want this, right? Which brings me to my next point, infrastructure. Again, there is no other platform that has the clarity and the transparency that Ethereum gives you. And the reason for that is because all of the trends, DeFi and NFT, is on Ethereum and started on Ethereum. And what do I mean by that? I mean like the transparency apps. I know you guys want to talk about like DBank, right? DBank, it works for other blockchains, but like most of these types of infrastructure only work on Ethereum, right? So DBank is one case of that. We also have like Etherscan. Like a big problem with Solana that I kept saying is that, yeah, they have a block explorer like Solana block. Yeah, they have a block explorer, but it's just not good. And it's not like transparent. Like it doesn't give you any data. Like, look, it doesn't give you any data at all. It only gives you this. And look, it can't even go past 6 hours. You can't even look at the history. But if we go to Etherscan, I mean, they give you everything. You could literally go right here to top statistics, right? And go to everything. Top charts. Look at that. Everything is transparent, open, and there's a lot of infrastructure around Ethereum. It's just the truth. There's a lot of websites built with the smart contract coding language. Ethereum is where it's at. It's EVM compatible. Like this is why, like I've always said, the layer ones have to be EVM compatible, just because the infrastructure is all on Ethereum. And basically the only strategy for smart contracts is to take away infrastructure and liquidity and developers away from Ethereum, because Ethereum sets the tone for everything, right? So this is really important, right? Web 3.0 wallet viewers, on-chain metrics, things like that, all set up for Ethereum. Go try to find on-chain metrics for other platforms. It's going to be very hard. It's going to be very difficult. So most of the infrastructure that's built is on ETH. And this makes big investors very comfortable, okay, with investing into it, okay? Now, the small investors, don't get me wrong, like retail, they like other layer ones because of these two. This is like a retail reason. It's like a retail reason, but really the big reason is what I'm trying to explain to you guys, which is, how do we get the whales into these smart contracts, right? And whales like this, right? Big whales like that. Now, another thing, reputation. Whales like this. Whales want their money to last a long time. When you're thinking about the wealthiest people on earth, you notice a trend. And I've heard this, and maybe I can't back it up with specific evidence, but this is a qualitative element. This is like the quality of something, because I've heard this from every single person I know that is smart. They always tell me the same thing. They tell me, hey, Alex, rich billionaires, all they're looking for is wealth preservation. They don't look for really quick ways to make money really fast. What they're looking for is guaranteed ways and to never lose money. Warren Buffett famously said that, you never, ever, 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 ever lose money was his thing. And it's almost more important for them to not lose money than to make more money. It's way more important for big whales and people with billions of dollars, right? So the reputation of the smart contract is really important. So what is reputation, right? How long it worked? Does it work or not? How secure is it? And how long has it been around? And by far, when it comes to reputation, Ethereum destroys and obliterates every smart contract. Solana has gone down like more than 5 times. Pretty much every smart contract platform has gone down. Ethereum doesn't go down. It just gets congested. And again, it's tried, true, and tested. It's been out the longest out of all of them, right? And it's solved all of those little headaches. So for a big investor, they're jumping into this. That's a fact. And then which brings me to my last point, user experience, right? This is where retail comes in. This is where it makes sense for, the average day person. But you can't invest with your pockets. You have to invest with the whales. That's how you make money. You can't think like a retail user, right? Which brings it to here. Fast transactions, cheap transactions, easy wallet transition, right? So a lot of times we see some smart contract platforms and they're not using MetaMask, which is ridiculous because MetaMask has the most users in cryptocurrency by far. So these are basically the 3 biggest user experience. Leave me a comment below if you guys think I should add to this. But in general, if you look at it and you break it down like that, then it kind of gives a significance to this Ethereum 2.0 that's going to come, because Ethereum 2.0 basically has all of this. And the only thing they're missing is that, which is like one small element. There's like one small element. So if they fix this, it's almost going to let the floodgates go. And it's going to be very significant for cryptocurrency adoption. So I do think that this is a very, very important event that's coming up. The Ethereum 2.0 hype, and the merge is supposed to happen relatively soon. Now, obviously, this could be a negative thing, and they can completely fumble everything, and it can not work. That's always a reality. But I will say that if there was a team on planet Earth right now that could probably pull something like this off, the most likely scenario is Ethereum. So it's not about trying to guess what's going to happen and what's not going to happen. It's more about what's most likely to happen. And what's most likely to happen is ETH 2.0 is going to probably work because they've been doing it for so long and they have so many tests with layer 2 technology. All this layer 2 technology is happening. There's so many different tests, right? And I think they're going to pull it off with Vitalik Buterin and their whole team. I just do. So that's coming soon. And it was supposed to happen in the beginning of 2022. So this is, again, a big qualitative element of the bullishness. By the way, green stands for bullish, red stands for bearish. You guys should know that, right? Very simple. All right. And the last one I want to point out, and maybe this is not like a bullish reason, but this is an anti-bearish reason. I don't know about you guys, but I literally have not heard anything about this Black Swan event. I don't want to say the name. They're going to censor me. But I have not heard anything about this. And I think the disappearance of that is going to really flip the market bullish, because it was always something that held us back. The fear of this right here is something that a lot of people did not invest in crypto or invest in any financial asset because of it. So that disappearing, to me, is a qualitative element of bullishness. Now, let's talk about the quantitative. So quantitative means basically numbers. What can we put our number behind, right? What's a specific number that we can put behind the bullish nature of Bitcoin? Now, I think this is the most significant, and obviously, I'm not the greatest technical analysis perspective We have people in FS that are just way better than me in fundamental secrets. You guys can get the link, $5 trial below in our pinned comment. But they're way better than me, and you could look at that all day. But I just want to point out something that's super clear and kind of on a longer time frame here. So if we look at Bitcoin's price, to me, what is super clear, like almost clear as day, is this trend line here. Like, I'm not going to draw it, but like the trend line here that comes out from the top here, just a super clear trend line. Maybe I should draw it so I can give you the representation. So from here all the way back over here, that to me is super clear. And also what's super clear is that we made a higher low. We made a higher, and this is a big W too. A lot of people in my group have been talking about that. But we definitely made a higher low. And from a long-term time perspective, this signifies that they don't want to drive the market further. If this got below here, if this got below this line, which I kept saying, I was going bearish. And we would have probably came back down. But the fact that I made this low, and also, I mean, obvious, you guys have been seeing, this is the most significant candle we have seen, which will bring me to on-chain metrics. I'm going to talk about on-chain metrics. But this is the most significant candle we have seen in like the past couple of years. It's by far the biggest candle. So this is signifying that we clearly made some significant support low at a higher point than over here. And that is just so clear. And honestly, you can overcomplicate it all you want. You can make this very hard for yourself, but I think clarity is much better. Also, if we look at the total, it's even more apparent. So the total market capitalization is basically just taking Bitcoin and altcoins into one chart, and it's literally even more apparent. Same support line, right? So again, when you clear the dust, right? When you clear all the noise, it starts to become very, very clear. And I do want to point out that once we get down here, like I know a lot of altcoins are surging, but this is the top 100 altcoins versus Bitcoin dominance. So if we get back down to here, well, guess what? I'm going to be buying a lot of altcoins around here. So pay attention to the videos. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're getting really deep. And again, I'm trying to separate myself by providing clarity and true deep knowledge and research so that you guys, again, can navigate these uncertain times. And again, I want to just clearly say to everybody, I apologize because I recognize the error in my ways on not providing clarity and showing you guys and leading you to the true answer, right? So again, I apologize and I accept full responsibility for the mistakes I made in previous videos. But let's jump it back over here, right? What's another quantitative element? And I know you guys are all seeing this. I'm not trying to beat a dead horse, but this is crazy. Bitcoin number of addresses with a balance over 1,000 BTC. So it looks like the Russian gulags or the Russian billionaires jumped into the market exactly as we predicted a couple of days ago. It looks very clear that they jumped into the market, and this is significant. This is almost as significant as over here. Look at that, right? Billionaires jumping in, boom. Then we moved up. And I do think that this is very bullish for on-chain metrics. And a lot of other indicators are screaming bullish as well, just to be clear with everybody. So, even the biggest like on-chain investigators, the people that I respect the most, are all bullish as heck. So I do believe that the overall category of on-chain metrics are bullish right now. Now, I do want to briefly touch this. The expanding cycles theory, I do want to briefly touch that. We have it's basically two theories that contradict each other, which is, hey, the market's going to expand. And then, hey, Bitcoin halving is going to bring down the market because it works in about 4-year cycles. I will say that Bitcoin halving has worked for the past 3 years, right? So if we look at the BLX and we look at these big blue lines here and the halving events, this has been consistent throughout time, right? But we know that there's one thing guaranteed in life, and that one thing, and again, I'm being a critique of myself because I've talked about this and gone back and forth on the subject a lot. So again, there's no like real answer. I don't think anybody's going to ever give you a real answer, but my gut feeling is telling me that if the Bitcoin halving has been this valuable this long, then eventually it has to be invalidated. Like it's night and then it turns day. Like things shift. It's a duality. So if Bitcoin has been the correct thing, eventually it will become invalidated. So the Bitcoin halving, to me, if I were to look at again this this, hey, is it going to be expanding cycles or is it going to be the Bitcoin halving that really catalyzed the market? I would say that it's less likely that the Bitcoin halving cycle is the thing that moves the market, and more likely that expanding cycles theory plays out where it just takes longer for us to get to the top. And I do think that the expanding cycles theory is backed up by the fact that Ethereum 2.0 is going to increase adoption of the whole entire crypto market. If they fix the transaction speeds and the costs, this will add to the expanding cycles theory, and we could see maybe a flipping of Ethereum to Bitcoin. If that happened, then this would be completely invalidated. Right now, again, these are two of the hardest ones here. But after all of my research and being in this market for 6 years, and also talking to a lot of people I respect, I think that the expanding cycles theory probably plays out a little bit better than the Bitcoin halving in my personal perspective. So yeah, take what you want with that one. That's a hard one, and you could really argue about that for months. But personally, I think the expanding cycles is more likely than the Bitcoin halving being a catalyst. So that kind of talks about a little bit of the quantitative element of the bear run. So we don't have to talk about that too much. But let's talk about the other bear thing, right? Which is hawkish Fed policy. So if you guys don't know what dovish and hawkish is, basically when there's a lot of inflation, typically the Federal Reserve will turn hawkish and they will tighten up on their money printing. Just to put it in plain English, when the economy is doing well, they'll typically print more money and get more credit. And when the economy is doing bad, they'll try to pull back or lower things like the federal funds rate, as you can see here. Basically, you get the point. They're trying to make the less printing of the money lowers inflation. That's simply put, because I know that's what you guys understand. So less printing of the money lowers inflation, right? Which is typically bad for the markets. And I'm not going to sit here and back this up. I am not a macroeconomic expert in any way, shape, or form. But after talking to Aaron and a lot of people, this is a case where, hey, they're going to turn hawkish, especially with the meetings coming up very soon. And if they do that, that's bad for the economy. So again, I'm giving you guys both cases, and hawkish Fed policy could bring down Bitcoin, and it has previously brought down Bitcoin. Multiple times. So this is a bearish quantitative case for Bitcoin. And then last one, very simply put, wartime sucks for all financial assets. This is shown through the history of time. And maybe this is quantitative, but I would say it's qualitative, because although it sucks from a numbers perspective, I think it's more in people's brain that it sucks. People are like thinking, oh, wartime's going to kill my assets. It's more of like a perception, because that's not always the case for crypto. So if we look at, again, equity return index, basically this kind of shows that through World War II, the markets basically reacted to the battles. And again, this is just super volatile, right? So if Germany won in this area, Germany's assets would do well. And then if America won here, then America's assets would do well in general. So this is really bad, right? Wartime doesn't really have positive situations for financial markets in most cases. Also, if you look at here, 1940 to 1950, this is around the World War II. You can see just straight negatives through the board. Assets across the great powers, right? If we look at asset returns in a deeper perspective across the great powers, you can see, again, 1930, 1940, pretty negative throughout the board, right? You can clearly see it right there. And then around here, same thing, but they don't really have these numbers there. And then this is also from Ray Dalio's book. This is not my information at all. And then you can see worst investor experiences across major countries. You can see that, again, during war, financial assets typically don't do well over the long term. And this is an obvious thing. You could see just a lot of manipulation in the market, periods of wealth confiscation or actual people's money being taken. Definitely happens during times of war. So pay attention, guys. For the investor, when there is war, they technically get scared and they try to take their money out of the market. That's usually what happens during times of the war. So to me, it's not like what could potentially happen now. I think it's the perception for a lot of investors. So again, just to run through it one more time, and hopefully this video clarified if I was bullish or bearish. I think it's really obvious right here. Like, this is really telling you if I'm bullish or bearish. But very simply put, the financial sanctions narrative is bullish for crypto. The ETH 2.0 that's potentially coming out can catalyze the adoption of the market more than the Bitcoin halving cycle. Also, what happened to this? Like, where did this go? It's gone. And that being gone will probably be positive for crypto. Also, quantitative, right? Bitcoin just made a higher low. You guys can clearly see on the chart from a long-term perspective that it clearly made some support, right? On-chain looks really bullish from a lot of people I respect, as well as that specific chart that I showed you guys. And you can go, look at the video again if you have to. The expanding cycles theory to me is probably stronger, especially witnessing what I'm seeing, than the Bitcoin halving. So, quantitative negatives, right? Bitcoin halving could play out, right? And if that's the case, then we could be coming up to, the end of the market. Hawkish Fed policy is definitely something that's in the past, it was negative for crypto. So, them rolling out some increasing interest rates or whatever the case could be a negative thing. Them stopping the money printing could be a negative thing, right? And war sucks for investment. This is just a perception I believe a lot of investors have experienced throughout their lifetime. And this is definitely a qualitative element. But yeah, leave a comment in the comment section below if you guys think I should add to this chart. But this is my current thesis. If you guys want to learn how I construct these theses by yourself so you don't have to worry about a YouTube or a video, and actually how to learn how to invest, again, we're doing a $5 trial with fundamental secrets. You don't like it, you don't buy it. It's $5 for 5 days. And the only reason that we put the $5 barrier is because we had scammers come into our group when we did the free one. So $5 for 5 days, and you can simply cancel it. But I'm so confident in our product that, to be honest with you, I don't think you're going to cancel it. So click the link in the pinned comment below, head on over. If not, doesn't matter, guys, because I'm going to be providing you with the highest quality information on the internet. If you appreciate this content, hit like. If you don't, leave some constructive criticism. Subscribe for more video updates. And like I always say, if you don't get with it, you will get left behind. Thanks for watching this, guys. I'll catch you guys in the next video.